What about Huckleberry?
They're taking the N-word out of the book.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole documentary about that PBS did.
What?
You could probably get it on PBS or website or something. They did a whole documentary about Huck Finn. And that Nigger Jim is the name of the character. And that once in a while, this happened. This is a cyclical thing. That's why everybody should see this documentary. That every once in a while, since the book was written, like Mark Twain is actually a quote from him where he says, I knew that when I wrote Huck Finn, he would cause a lot of trouble and that he will throughout history. Like that every once in a while, some fucking college student reads it and goes, that says nigger in it. That's really offensive.
Comes around like nigger
and starts a thing. Yes. Some fucking nigger. So there's actually, in the documentary, there's a great moment where Reagan is giving the Mark Twain Award to somebody or something like that. And he goes, and who can forget Huck Finn and his great friend, Jim. And there's a moment where he looks to the side and you can tell there's an aide waving his arms around.
No!
Like he said to him 50 times, Mr. President, when you give this award, say Jim, but it's Nigger Jim. I read it. I haven't read much, but it's Nigger Jim. Mr. President, you can't say nigger anymore. Why not?
Why not?
They don't like it. Oh, fine. Okay. And then he was practicing for the teleprompter, and his friend Nigger Jim. Mr. President, please don't say nigger. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be the end for you. Oh, well, fine. Goodness gracious. It's Nigger Jim. That's the fellow's name.
Then
you can see it. He goes, and his friend Jim. In the place of
that's great.
It should say instead, when they reprint it, Jim. Every time it's supposed to say nigger Jim.
Jim. Or they should just put fucking in front of it.
Yeah, fucking black Jim. With his black fucking owned by another person face.
In a different font, so it really
there's nothing more ignorant than thinking you're fixing anything.
Thank you.
By taking Nigger Jim out of Huck Finn. But it was a fucking it's a fucking monument to American history. This is what, and the book is about a kid's struggle with if you've read Huck Finn, which I haven't, the point of it no, I read it at some point, but the point of it is that this kid, Huckleberry Finn, has this friend Jim, who's a slave, and he's his friend, and he grew up with him, and he wants Nigger Jim wants him to help him to escape slavery, and the kid has been raised that that's wrong, that Nigger Jim is a slave and he belongs to somebody else, and to help him would be stealing, would be like corroborating with a theft, to take away. That's what people were raised. And he has an internal struggle of, but I know him, he's a human being, and I don't know what to do about it. And to take away nigger out of the Nigger Jim's name just fucking destroy it. It's like pretending he wasn't a slave.
Yeah.
It would be like rewriting the story and just saying Jim was an employee of the Home Depot who wasn't paid much and he was thinking of getting another job. But Home Depot's really, their contracts are really strict. So Huck Finn had to help him go to a job at IKEA. No, he was a fucking slave who was whipped, and his name was Nigger Jim. That's how bad his life was.
Yes,
so if you take nigger out of Nigger Jim's name, you're softening the reality of what life was like then. And you're taking away what was great about Mark Twain's humor.
Right.
Is that he reduced the misery of not only black people, but of all poor people in the South. He took that context and made colorful, beautiful, funny stories inside of of this barefoot kid who's fucking starving, and he's a dynamic, interesting character, and his friend Nigger Jim has a voice. Nobody else was writing for Nigger Jim.
It softens the whole conflict that the kid is feeling too, because then it's like, oh, it's just Jim.
Yeah, it's just his friend Jim. No, this guy's life is so bad that he actually has to say, hi, my name is Nigger Jim. Like, he actually has to answer to Nigger Jim.
Yeah.
But now it's Slave Jim, and eventually they'll get rid of slave.
How about this? Would it be acceptable if they call
servant or something else?
Yeah, exactly.
Jim the you-know-what?
And eventually it'll just
How
be
about Black Jim? Like people just say it about people at work.
Yeah.
Just Black Jim.
The black guy. You know
Black
Black
Jim.
Jim?
Yeah. But who is offended by this? Because I spent a lot of time on Twitter because this was
niggers.
I wanted to send you out there. Perfect.
I don't know. It's usually white people.
But you know what? I was on Twitter a lot yesterday looking at this because it was a trending topic. No one was offended that was commenting on it. Black people weren't offended. White people weren't offended. Equally, people were like, why are they doing this?
I thought it was financial. My take was because this book company is doing it.
But then they're out of touch because
I think every time, I think that's very shrewd, Jim. I think that every time they do a new edition of Huck Finn, they go roll out the fucking nigger thing to get it out on the store, you know, to get these sell some books.
And they're afraid people might not buy it with nigger, and especially the climate now. So like we want to sell books, change it like that, and maybe schools that aren't buying it will buy it. I think it's a financial.
Oh yeah, no, putting nigger in a book just shuts down sales.
Well, I mean, just switch to colleges and schools.
No, I know.
But Twitter is huge, and I'm telling you, I didn't see one person go, well, they should take it out. They were all like, what the fuck is this about?
Well, who's talking about taking it out now? The publisher? Is they talking about
taking it out? Is taking it out.
The New South.
Without really giving a reason. I haven't seen a reason yet why they're taking it out.
No, it's really...
They said it was actually based on one guy complaining and talking about it, that whenever he had to talk about the book... As he was teaching, he did the Jim.
How fucking important is that? And you should say nigger Jim when you talk about the book. You should, if you're talking to sixth graders about it, you should say nigger Jim every time. You should never say Jim without nigger. In
any context, sports,
nigger Jim.
On this show in the morning when I say hi in the morning.
Anthony with nigger Jim.
Yeah, that's your new name, Jim.
Nigger Jimmy Norton. Little nigger Jimmy Norton.
Oh, Jesus, Lou, you got to show on FX. You're gonna get an FX.
No, but you shouldn't. That's how you untie those two. You're doing a real fucking damage.
Yeah,
I agree.
It is softening.
Completely agree.
Completely.
And they'll continue softening it. They won't stop by with just naming him Slave Jim. They'll move on from there. Hey, a quote from Mark Twain about censorship. Censorship is telling a man he can't have a steak just because a baby can't chew it.
That's very, very Mark Twain of him.
That is Twain.
Can you find Mark Twain about Huck Finn? Because he said you'll find Mark Twain talking about Huck Finn.
Yeah, I would love to know.
And if you also YouTube around and see if you can find that Ron Reagan clip, because I swear to God, it's what it always ends up being something I didn't.
What a great quote!
That is
fucking.
That's a good one.
Censorship is telling a man he can't have steak because a baby can't chew it.
Right.
That is fucking genius.
We sacrifice. Ant said this years ago. Our own entertainment because we got to protect the children.
Yeah, the children.
But I think also
what about our entertainment?
A baby is also about other adults. Metaphorically as well.
Definitely used as a metaphor.
Absolutely.
For asshole children.
I never read that. I don't read Mark Twain. I've never read him.
Jimmy.
I'm just not.
Neither do I.
That's a great quote.
Yeah.
That stopped me in my tracks. And I'm hard to do. As everybody says, no one doesn't stop in their tracks like Norton. That's what the word on the street is. People who think other people have different impressions of them than they do. Well, everybody's like, people always know. I don't fuck around. Nobody knows that. Jerk off.
Nobody knows that.
And in other news, it's official, according to CSA Dick, the Cleveland Cavaliers have offered that homeless guy the job of announcing at the fucking Cleveland Cavaliers.
Cleveland needs something.
Yeah, that guy is
poor guy though.
A really good job.
See, he turns it down because he doesn't want to live in Cleveland.
Right.
Maybe he wants to go somewhere warmer.
Well, that too, Chip.
Just ruined your brilliant joke.
Oh, fuck him.
Yeah, well, what are we doing? We're looking up the clip.
I was trying to find it.
Reagan
clip. That's going to be a hard thing to find.
I'm gonna. Yes. It was a PBS documentary. I'm gonna watch that today. Yeah. Can I watch it on YouTube?
Netflix.
It's kind of difficult to find, actually.
How about Netflix?
Later, I
got to look. Well, when I did a preliminary search, it wasn't really yielding a lot.
What's it called, Lou?
What's that?
What's the special called? The documentary?
I don't fucking remember.
I'll get it for you. Hang on.
Someone can help me out and let me know.
That's all right. Sometimes we snap.
I don't.
It is called Culture Shock. Born to Trouble: Adventures of Huck Finn. That's the name of it, but it's kind of hard to find because it's 10 years old already.
Right.
Oh, see, so
I'm surprised YouTube doesn't have a.
I know. I just it might be on there, but not under that title anyway.
Right.
Is it on Netflix, Dan?
I need to look for it because
please,
I'm doing something else now.
Let me say hi to Jerry and Maine.